Greetings, I am Mamishi Tony Madire. Today I'm going to summarize part one of ESA 315 revised 2019 risk assessment. And then I would like to start by explaining the system of internal control in terms of COSO. As you know that the system of internal control can only provide a reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, because there are inherent limitations of the system of internal control. Okay, we have five components of the system of internal control, namely control environment, information system, control activities, risk assessment, and monitoring. And then I've highlighted with different colors because we have direct control and indirect control. And then direct controls are information system control activities. And then direct controls influence the risk at the accession level. And then indirect controls influence the risk at the financial statement as a whole. Remember that the risk at the financial statement as a whole can occur due to manipulation by management, as I've indicated that the system of internal control can only provide a reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, because of the inherent limitation of the system of internal controls. Because management can can override the system of internal control. uh, for example, for a practical example, for the risk at the financial statement as a whole due to manipulation by management. Let's say if management they receive or their bonuses is based on the uh, profit, there's a risk of management overstating revenue. Okay, what is the risk-based audit approach? A risk-based audit approach, guys, means we are going to focus on the high risk areas, because the high risk areas should be first addressed, so then we can address the medium and the low to avoid uh, wasting resource focusing on the low risk areas than focusing on the high risk areas. We firstly addressed the high risk areas, so we go back to medium and low to avoid wasting resources on the low risk areas than high risk areas. Okay, the objective of ESA 315 is to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement at the accession level. Remember that the risk of material misstatement at the accession level may occur due to fraud or error. As you know, fraud is any intentional or omission designed to deceive others. Error, us as human being, there's a potential human error. Always, we are not perfect as human being. We can make errors. That is why the system of internal control can provide a reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, because there are inherent limitations of the system of internal controls. For example, potential human errors. Management can override the system of internal controls. And then we assess the risk of material misstatements in terms of their likelihood and impact. Why do we assess or measure the risk of material misstatement in terms of their likelihood or impact? Because we want to identify the significant risk, because the significant risk should be firstly addressed in terms of the risk-based audit approach. That is why we rank the risk from low to high, so we can identify the high risk areas, so that can be firstly be addressed. And then we assess as and when we assess the risk, we assess the risk by identifying both inherent and control risk related to each assertion. Uh, as you know, the inherent risk, are the risk in the absence of management, and control risk are the residual risk. Is the risk that remain after management have responded to the risk, are the residual risk, which are control risk. Uh, Note that auditors must design and perform the risk assessment procedure to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Remember, the risk of material misstatement include risk at the financial statement level as a whole due to manipulation by management. This one, guys, I've explained the risk at the assertion level. Now we're going to planning stage. Uh, we can only plan after signing the engagement letter. We do not start planning until we have signed the engagement letter. Auditors shall perform a risk assessment procedure to obtain understanding of the entity's environment, inherent risk factors, entities system of internal control, entities applicable accounting reporting framework, a summary of performing risk assessment. As I've explained, guys, we perform risk assessment to obtain understanding of the engagement client and its environment so that our audit is customized. It's important that our audit should be customized. Also, we are going to understand or obtain understanding of the entity's internal the system of internal controls, business structure, accounting policies, industry. Basically, we need to obtain understanding of everything about the company so that our audit service can be customized, and also we identify the significant risk faced by the organization. And then we use the risk-based audit approach. This one, guys, I emphasize. Why? Because the high risk areas should be firstly be addressed. Requirements of ISA 315. It require us as auditors to perform a risk assessment procedure to obtain evidence that provide appropriate basis. Risk assessment procedures shall include inspection. We inspect what? As you know, we inspect documentation. We can inspect the account, the policies of the organization in order to obtain a better understanding of the organization. You can also inquire from management to obtain what? A better understanding of the uh, organization in order to gather evidence, guys. We perform the audit procedure to gather what? Audit evidence by inspection, inquiring. We can observe the procedures. We you can use the analytic substantive procedure. These are the risk assessment procedure that should be followed. Ne? And then I will explain the audit plan or program, because the audit plan and program should include nature, timing, and extent. Nature, timing, and extent are the professional judgment. Here, guys, we're going to use our professional judgment. Ne? What is the nature? Nature, like, you ask yourself, like, what audit procedure will be used to obtain audit evidence. You must ask yourself, like, what audit procedures will be used to obtain the audit evidence. We know that we have these audit procedures, like we can inspect, yeah, inquire, we can observe, like, which one, uh, what audit procedure will be used to obtain what? The audit evidence. Now, timing, when the audit evidence will be obtained. You must ask yourself, what audit evidence will be obtained. Extent, how much audit evidence will be obtained or will be gathered. is here, guys. You must ask yourself, the above are the professional judgment. There is no mathematical numbers used. You just use your professional judgment. During planning, we have what we called engagement team discussion. During the engagement team discussion, here is the engagement line and engagement team. We talk about application of the applicable reporting frameworks. We know we have different reporting framework. It depends with the organization which reporting frameworks they are using. Maybe they are using IFRAS. Yeah, like we talk about that. We talk about the account and the balance of the financial statement that may be materially misstated. We talk about the risk. Note that we should consider others people perspective about the risk. Now I've arrived to the conclusion for the summer of our summary in terms of ISA 315 revised 2019. Auditors focused on the risk of the material misstatement on the assertion level. Here, guys, is the summary of what uh, I've spoke, like is what I've discussed above, and then they assess the risk of material misstatement by identifying both inherent and control risk related to each uh, assertions. Like I have discussed about this. And then auditors also perform audit procedure to understand the business, the internal controls, the financial reporting process, and the preliminary audit result. Auditors update their assessment of the risk of material misstatement throughout the audit. Like here, guys, it's just the conclusion. It's also the summary of what I've discussed here. I hope these guys will help you to obtain an understanding of the part one of ISA 315 revised 2019. I will also uh, post another video for part two so we can explain the standard, this standard of ISA 315 in summary, because if we try to summarize this, we can understand uh, the objective of ISA 315. Thank you, guys.